Hello, Alan Bradshaw here again. If you've seen my other videos, you'll have seen about sort of signing up for Weebly and logging in. And this is back on the main page. Once you've logged into Weebly, you'll see your websites down here. You may only have one. I've got a number, but basically it's the same. And as I mentioned before, you've got different options from this page. You've got a blue edit button, a stats button, and other things that you can do. Now, what we're going to look at, or what I'm going to look at with you, is what happens when you click the edit button. So I'll click the edit button. And that takes us through to really the key part of Weebly. This is where you'll spend almost all of your time. It's the Weebly editor page. And you can see it's come into, this is where I would go to edit this one of my websites, which is the stress site. My main business website. Now what I want to do here is just give you an overview of what's on this page. I won't go into anything in too much detail, but there's a fair amount here, and it's all quite important, and so I'll just give you an overview of the kinds of things that you would do on this page. You can see here that the one that is usually highlighted when you first come in is the build page. You probably will spend more time on build than anything else. And this is where the part of the page where you build web pages, where essentially you build, parts of your site, but specifically web pages. And although I'll explain it in more detail later on another video as to how you go about building web pages and the different things that you can do in terms of building web pages, just to give you the essence of it, essentially how building web pages works is that you see on the left hand side here these things under basic: title, text, slideshow, contact form, and if you scroll down, there's a little scroll bar here. If you scroll further down, you'll see other things that you can put onto web pages, things to space out your web pages, videos, files if you want people to download files, and a range of other things. All great stuff. Now, essentially how Weebly works is that it's a drag and drop. It's called a drag and drop functionality. So you hover over the element you want. Let's say you want to put a title on the top of your web page, and you would drag that down to your web page and it would put it there. And you see a blue line, and that blue line shows you where, and if you let go of the mouse, your title will go there. If we put it underneath here and I let go, you'll see a little box comes up, a title box, and I'll explain that all to you on another video in terms of how it actually works and what you do to build web pages. But this build part of the editor is really the place you spend most time. The other place you spend quite a lot of time is under pages. So I'll click on pages and I'll show you what's there. Now this is for adding and organizing your pages. So if you want to add a page, when you come here, you'll see there's a big blue add button there, and you would click on that, and that will add a page, a new page to your website. And again, I'll show you on another video all the ins and outs of adding and organizing pages. Obviously you can there's various things that you can do here, but I'll explain that in more depth on another video. On the left hand side, here's where your pages will appear. And you can see if I scroll down that I've got a load of pages on this website, and they're organized. So I have some kind of what you might call top level pages, and then I have a number of different pages under them. So you can organize these things here, and again, it's done really with a sort of drag and drop type functionality, and all will be explained in another video. It's really very, very simple. You can also choose your layout of your page, whether your page is going to be visible when people actually come onto your site or whether it's not, whether you're going to hide it in the navigation. I'll explain all a bit more later on. So that's pages. So it's a really critical part, because obviously your website is populated with pages. So you're on here quite a lot, and you're adding pages, and you're moving pages, and you're reorganizing your pages. Now, a place that you won't go to very often, but you will go to when you start your website, is the design part of your website. See, I've clicked this button called design, and now it's highlighted in dark blue. And on this part, you can change the look and feel of your website. And you'll see here there are some buttons here on the left hand side, one called change theme, one called change fonts, one called change the background. The big difference between this and building pages is really that if you make changes here, these will be broadly reflected across the whole site. So you're changing the look and feel of the whole site here. So again, I'll go into this in more depth in another video, but just to look quickly, when I press the change theme button, if I click that, you'll see what comes up are lots and lots of different themes. You can choose any one of these themes for your site. And what you can also do, and you'll see if I hover over one of the themes, is that you can sort of change the sort of broad color of the theme. You can preview the theme. Now, what you've got to be careful of, though, is don't immediately click that choose button, because that will change the theme of your website. So make sure you preview it all first before you're really happy with it. Anyway, I'll talk a lot more about the design aspects. You're not once you're happy with the design, you're not going to change the design very often, but you might do every few months. You might say you want to change the design, but it's still important, and especially when you start off a new site. Okay, a couple more buttons up here. I'll look very briefly at them just now. This button here is called Store. Now, this part here is only going to really be relevant to you if you sell products from your site. If you do, then these elements are going to be really important, because you can do things like add a store page from which you can sell products, add individual products, add information, payments, and so on. I won't look at this in any more depth just now. It's only really relevant if you sell products, but if you do, of course, it will be highly relevant. But that's really for another video, and I'll talk a bit more in depth about the store elements. Last but not least, there are settings. So let's click on that and have a quick look at settings. Now, what comes up first when you click settings is, you can see there's a menu of things down the left-hand side here. And what comes up first are the broad general settings. This is your site address. which is essentially your domain name. You don't typically change that once you've got it set up. Your site title, whether or not you show that on the top of your pages or not. Just really general things that appear on your site. I'll talk a little bit more about these things on a later video. But just to say that there are other things here under settings which are important, and you'll need to get into them once you start developing your site. And some of these things are very important for marketing, such as this one, SEO. This is to do with what's called SEO, stands for search engine optimization. And essentially what you do is you're putting in information here which helps to clarify to Google and to everyone else what your site is really about. And so you would put in important keywords, and I'll explain more about keywords on another video. You'll also see here there's things called footer code and header code. These are a little bit more technical. I won't go into them just now. But I mentioned on another video that if you wanted to, you can set up your website for something called Google Analytics. So you can analyze all the traffic coming to your site, where it's coming from, what pages people are looking at, and all sorts of things like that. And this is where you can put things into, or get some code from the likes of Google to put on your site to enable you to look at all these statistics. Editors is for if you have other editors other than yourself for your site in terms of creating your site. Members is about whether you set up your site so people have to log in to access certain pages, and these other things I'll explain on another video. Okay, now there are some other things up here, so I'll just say briefly what they are. This one is, there's a kind of thing called Site Planner, which kind of walks you through setting up and organizing your website, something that's been put on by Weebly themselves. Have a look at that if it's and see if it's of relevant. There's sort of odd. There's some tutorials on there and some helpful hints and tips about organizing your websites. That's what that is. Up here, you'll see a couple of different kind of icons here. One, if you hover over it, it says desktop view. One says mobile view. Now, what's that about? Right, well, what that's about is, well, most of the time you'll be in desktop view, and most people who access your website will do so via, for example, a laptop or a desktop computer. So you would normally have that highlighted. But if you wanted to do stuff in the editor and you wanted to be clear about how things would look on a mobile, if people were accessing your website on a mobile, you could click that icon there, and then basically everything will be set up as if so you could set it up for to make sure that it looks good on a mobile phone or a smartphone. This orange button here on the right hand side is very, very important. You'll use this button a lot. It's the publish button, and basically you're likely to use that once you've built some pages. So say you're on a page here, and this is my home page, and I've made some changes here, once I'm happy with those changes, or change some elements or some text or whatever, then whenever you want to publish your website, you click this orange button here, and that publishes the whole new version of your website. It all happens very quickly, and so that's a really important thing. So there's nothing technically complicated. You just click that button and everything happens, which is great. And last but not least, least, there's this part on the far right hand side is a kind of these three lines. If you click on that, it gives you some options. You can go back to a list of all your sites or your stats or stuff about your domains, or there's a button for exiting the editor if you want to go out, leave the editor altogether. So that's really it. That's a broad overview of the editor. As I say, the main buttons, the main things you'll be using are the build elements and the pages elements. Pages for setting up new pages and organizing your pages. Build for building your pages and making use of all the stuff over here. And I'll explain all of those things in another video. That's it. And thanks for watching. And I hope you enjoyed this and the other videos in this series. Thanks a lot. Bye.